I finally shot a magnificent abandoned house that I've been thinking about and looking at for years. Hey everybody, Keith Dotson here with Teena, and in this video we're shooting abandoned houses along US Highway 11 in the western mountains of Virginia. US 11 crosses the state from the Tennessee state line to the West Virginia state line, roughly following the border of West Virginia. It runs through the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Shenandoah Valley. A part of the original U.S. highway system, Route 11 was designated in Virginia in 1926 and generally follows an old colonial-era road called the Great Wagon Road. It was supplanted beginning in the 1950s by the modern Interstate 81, which runs nearby. You can see the traffic on I-81 in the distance here. That's the old train depot in Marion, Virginia. Following a back road into the hills, we found this incredible old house ruin on a hilltop. We had to shoot between the homes and at a distance, and there were a lot of obstacles to work around. This monument marks the former property of a Revolutionary War hero, General William Campbell, who distinguished himself at the Battle of Kings Mountain. He's interred in a nearby historic cemetery. And here we are at that historic cemetery, Aspenvale, located on a hilltop with a wonderful view. You can see this entire cemetery in detail on my Walking Old Graveyards channel. I'll put a link in the description. And finally, the old house at 7 Mile Ford, exit 39 on Interstate 81. I first spotted this magnificent house years ago while driving to someplace else. Since then, I've driven past it several times and always thought, how can I shoot that? There's not a great place to photograph it from any direction. It's situated right along Interstate 81 at an exit that leads to a road that circles around behind it. But unfortunately, the road doesn't provide any good views, as you saw in my earlier footage. There is a dirt road that leads out through the trees of the house, but it's gated and posted no trespassing. The only really good view is from the interstate immediately prior to the exit. I don't even really have much video footage of the house, but here's an aerial look at it to help explain the situation. This is the John Montgomery Preston House, also known as Herndon, built 1842 to serve as a tavern and stagecoach stop on the old Wilderness Road. Preston acquired the land through an inheritance of his wife, who was related to General Campbell, whose monument we saw earlier. Interestingly, John Preston's wife Maria also had the maiden name of Preston. Cousins, maybe? It was open to travelers for 22 years until 1864. History buffs will know that was during the American Civil War, and it's the year Preston's son decided to make it into a private residence, and then later in the same year it was sacked by troops of the Union Army who were marching toward Abington, and then temporarily made the headquarters of a Union general. Something else wild to know about the history of this house. It was built to replace an old log tavern that had a sketchy reputation. According to the National Register of Historic Places, the prior innkeeper had a reputation of cheating and robbing unwary and unprotected travelers. It was even thought that he may have murdered some, and in the 1890s, 21 bodies were discovered in a cave on the property. An author named Lucy Crockett lived in the house from the 1940s until her death in 2002. Sadly, it's been announced online that there are plans to demolish the house and construct a truck stop on the property. That would be criminal in my opinion, certainly a real shame. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing these interesting old houses. Thanks for watching. be sure to visit my website at keithdotson.com.